Here we are.
We are here.
All right. Talk CDL.
What was that?
I'll be honest, I don't even know. I'm just here. So there's like a lot to talk about tonight. Actually, I wanted to talk about divorce.
Okay.
Not with you.
I was going to say, was there something I need to know about, babe?
No.
I mean, I did sneeze a minute ago. I'm sorry.
No. A trucker divorces, I want to talk about the rates. And especially among over-the-road truck drivers. And there was a couple other things I want to talk about. Gosh, I can't even find it. Like, we've been so busy today. It's crazy. I'm not political, and I try not to get political on the show, but I want to mention a senator that's talking about trucking, and I want to talk about that for like 2 or 3 minutes. And something else I was going to talk about. Dump truck haulers. I got a message for dump truck haulers tonight on Talk CDL Trucking Podcast. And you had something you want to talk about. What was that again? You had said to me this morning earlier about the ELDs or something post-ELD. So accident rates post-ELD. Ruth Ann's got something, and we definitely want to hear that all on Talk CDL. Ruth Ann, I'd like to mention today we are brought to you by National Carriers out of Dallas, Texas. They are a reefer hauling company with beautiful T680s. Phone number 888-311-7076. If you're looking for a really good job as a truck driver, lease, purchase, or company solo, 888-311-7076. Also, drivers, if you are looking for a local job, dun 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 dun. Local as in home every day. And You know what? It's wintertime, guys. Maybe it's time to get off the road for a little bit and be home every night instead of being out there in that cold, treacherous winter this year. Call Carter Lumber. If you got a Class A or a Class B license, call them. Don't call them. Go on carterlumber.com/Talk CDL. That's actually the quickest way. Instead of calling them, Ruthann, because they have 160 some locations. So if you go on carterlumber.com /Talk CDL. Fill out that little, it's like 5-question pamphlet thing they have online. They will contact you like right away and get you in for an interview, get you set up, and get you local home every day. So there you have it, Ruthann. Onward we go to the show. To the show. So divorces. I want to talk about that for a second. Do you know what the national average is for divorces? I was actually looking at something like, wow, that's some scary crap.
Now, is this specific to truck drivers?
No. We're going to talk about truckers, but I want to talk about the national average first.
Okay.
I want to compare truckers to the national. Who do you think has the worst? I didn't even look it up, but I always heard cops have the worst divorce rate. That's what I've always heard. That's what I've heard. Cops. They have a really bad divorce rate. I don't know why. They just do. Okay. So listen to this crap. Almost 50% of all marriages in the United States will end in divorce or separation.
50%?
50 freaking percent. Wow.
That's basically saying half you people out there don't need to get married.
I'm telling you, man, it's like, first off, guys, if you go into an agreement, just keep your vows, keep your word, both of you.
Yeah, both.
I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to take care of you. Whether you have sickness or health. Some people are like, I was talking to a guy and a girl one time, actually friends of ours, if you remember, the neighbors that got divorced. And like the husband looks at her and he goes, we took vows and I meant my vows. And she looked right at him. Seriously, she goes, well, I didn't. It's like, you didn't mean your vows? The poor guy was married to her for 25 years. They were married like 25 years, remember that?
It was a long time.
And he said, I meant my vows, and she said, I didn't. It's like, what a slap in the, gets a punch in the gut. When a woman looks you in the eyes and goes, I didn't. It's like, whoa. But we're going to get to the trucker divorce rate here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. So it says here, researchers estimate that 41% of all first marriages end in divorce. So your first marriage, 41% of those. So for every 100 people that get married, 41 of their first timers are gonna get a divorce. 60% of people that get married a second time get divorced. Yeah. So you don't get better at marriage. You know, the percent gets worse. If you get married a second time, you're in the 60% most likely to not make it.
I don't like them statistics.
I think you know what I think it is. If once you give up one time, it's a lot easier to give up the second time. Maybe, all right, I took enough shit off my first husband. I ain't gonna do it again. This one, I'm out of here. You know, or vice versa.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it could be the guy. Okay, so if you get married a third time, right? Check this out. 73%.
Well, I could see, honestly, after two, if you're going for a number three, strikes, you're out.
Yeah,
done.
Why get married a third time?
What is the reasoning for that one?
What was Elizabeth Taylor, like 55 or something like that? What was she?
I think she was like 7.
Yeah, it was a lot. That's crazy. Oop, I turned you down too much. Good talk. Good.
I don't want to talk. No, I just wanted to tease with him.
Okay, so anyways, where was I at? Okay, here it says the United States has the 6th highest divorce rate in the world. And then it shows a chart. What do you think the number one country is for divorce? I'm serious.
Well, if we're number 6.
We're number 6. What do you think the number one is? I'm about to reveal the truckers' divorce rate.
The number one for divorce, I would have to say.
What country wouldn't you want to be in the most? That's the one. Say it. Where would you not want to be right now? What country? You're right. Russia. I know that's what you were going to say. Russia's number one.
I was trying to actually. They were one of the ones I was throwing around. I had them and another country.
No, Russia. Russia's it. Let's see here. It says every 42 seconds there's a divorce in America. That equates to 86 divorces an hour, 2,046 divorces every day, 14,364 divorces every week, and 746,971 divorces every year. Crazy. Every 16 seconds there is a marriage in the United States. That equates to 230 marriages per hour, 38,762 marriages per week, a little over 2 million a year. It says there are nearly 3 divorces in the time it takes for a couple to recite their wedding vows. More than 172 divorces occurred during your typical romantic comedy movie. That's 2 hours. 430 divorces happened during the average wedding reception, 5 hours. There are 5,975,768 divorces over the course of an average first marriage that ends in divorce, which is 8 years. So every 8 years is almost 6 million divorces in the United States.
That's crazy.
That's wacky. Crazy.
This is really crazy.
Are you ready for trucker divorce?
Yes.
So what did we say was the average? What was the national average? Do you remember what it was? About half, right? About half of people.
It was like 50%, right?
Yeah.
For the first one.
What's that?
For your first marriage.
So truckers, are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. The average trucker divorce, drum roll please. That's pretty good. I like that. 19.14%.
See, it's because they're away from each other a lot.
Listen. Not even half of what the average is. Truckers stay together. Seriously. Mm-hmm. Listen, ladies out there, if you just met a trucker and you're thinking, can this guy and myself make it? You have a better chance with a trucker than you have with a cop, a lawyer, a doctor, any one of these clowns. You have a better chance at staying married the rest of your life. Only 19 out of 100 get divorced, where 50 out of 100 get divorced, 41 to 50 out of 100 get divorced, national average. Truckers are faithful. Truckers, and like you said, I agree with that. And you said, well, they're apart, and I think that does help. People get used to, like when you get together, you see your husband every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You want to fight or you want to make love? I think most of them choose to make love.
Well, I think they do. I mean, the only time I think they would fight is, if he don't help do certain things that need to be done.
So, ladies, you want some advice? Find a trucker. Find a trucker. He's going to be good for you. And truckers, if you find a new lady, plant the seed. Ruth Ann knows what I mean. Put a bun in the oven. Give her something to do while she's away.
While you're away.
While you're away trucking, put a pup in there.
See, they're not werewolves.
Give her a pup to take care of. She's with pup. No, but seriously, it's a good. Kudos for truckers, right?
Yeah, I think it's because they're not, like when you deal with we're used to being around each other all the time.
Well, yeah, Ruth Ann and I are 24/7, but I'm just saying though.
But there's a lot of people that can't do that. Everyone that we've ever talked to say, how do you do it? But the thing is when you deal with a trucker, you're not up each other's rear all the time, trying always in their face.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And every day seeing them, so you value that time when you do get near each other. The man comes home or the woman, and you're getting stuff done that needs to be done by that specific person. Like there's things that I just can't do that I need you to do at the house or something to that effect, or on the vehicle or those type of things. Do I need you to do all of that? No, I'm sure I can manage to get around some of it, but it's your job to do those things when you're at the house. So you kind of have to do them. And when a trucker comes home, he wants to get those things done because he knows that's his job to do at the house.
Yeah, but also putting a pup in the oven.
Well, I mean, and to take care of the wife, the same way the wife's supposed to take care of the husband.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's supposed to be.
I mean, it's true. I mean, you and I were separate. Like, I was on the road and you were, taking care of the kids. I
had three pups.
I gave you some pups. You know where I got that term from?
Huh?
The Last Kingdom, like Vikings. He's like, she's got a pup. I like that. But no, seriously, it's a good thing. Raise a family. Raise a family. Be in love. Love your family. It seems like truck drivers are a loyal group. They are a loyal. That old saying, they have a girlfriend in every port. You already know if a guy's bringing home money, if he's doing well, consistent check, he doesn't have girlfriends. He's out there making money. He's running. He's tired. He's coming home. He wants to be with his family. And I'm telling you, ladies, I'm going to say it again. If you're looking for a spouse and you got the choice of a doctor, a lawyer, or a trucker, ladies, choose the trucker.
He knows all that stuff anyways.
Listen, and like you said, Ruth Ann, bottom line is you're going to have some free time too. And guess what? You and I didn't have FaceTime and Zoom and Skype and all that stuff back when I was a driver. I had to put a coin in the damn phone and call you and stand out. And, sometimes you're like standing in a damn payphone at a rest area and it's like freaking 0 degrees out and you're just wanting to talk to your loved one. Today, these guys can be in their truck with internet. It's not that hard to have a relationship with a trucker. And, there's so many things you can share while you're on the road. And guys, here's my advice to truckers. Seriously, it's the same advice I've always had with my own wife, with Ruth Ann here. Never stop chasing her around the room. Never stop flirting with your wife, because as soon as you do, okay, the Amazon man's ready to do it, or the UPS. We used to say the milkman when I was a kid, but the milkman don't deliver anymore. The UPS guy delivers. But I'm just
Amazon's
saying,
more.
There's always somebody waiting in line to take your job as lover or husband. So, when you're on the road, and I know most truckers do this because I've been reading about it. A lot of truckers, when they make time for their wives every night, they want to send them pictures of maybe something they've seen for the day. They want to include the kids. And it's nice to do that. Maybe they send them little flirty messages while they're on lunch break or whatever the case is. Flirt with her. Chase her. You might not be at home chasing her around the couch, okay, but while you're out on the road, flirt with her on the road. Let her feel loved. And ladies, do the same thing. Let that guy know. That's the one thing that's a really important for a trucker is a strong lady, Ruth Ann. You know that. Mm-hmm. And you ladies out there that have married a trucker, or you're new at being married to a trucker, Just make sure he has confidence and knows that you got his back. That makes him want to be out on the road and make more money to raise your family together. Seriously, that's exactly what it feels like. Now, if he can't get a hold of you, that's the thing right there. If you can't get a hold of her, you know what I mean, then obviously people are going to be wondering. It's not going to be fun being apart on the road. You're going to be thinking bad things of each other. So give each other that confidence. Okay. So anyways, I was reading that. I thought this would be a cute little opener for the podcast tonight. To let truck driver, I bet you most people were thinking, oh yeah, over the road truckers are going to have a high divorce. I was actually reading a lot of bull crap where people are writing these blogs going, yeah, truckers have a high divorce rate. Well, guess what? They don't. So any of you people that are writing these blogs saying truckers have a high divorce rate, they don't. It's 19.14%. Half of what not even half of what the national average is. So hats off to truckers. I mean that. We got it going on with the ladies. You know that, right? We're ladies men.
You move the goods.
We move the goods. That's right. That's right. We're always in the box, getting the freight out.
Oh, gosh.
Right then. But no, seriously. That's my advice.
Or you're backing in the dock.
Yeah, well, that's going to the brother. But listen, last, I'm just going to say it one more time. Give each other confidence. Give her a pup to take care of. And guys, raise your family. Trucker family. That's what we are. We're trucker families. Ruthann, what do you think? Should we move on?
Moving on.
Should we mention another sponsor?
Yes.
How about DriveWise? And that's DriveWyze.
Sorry, I really probably shouldn't take so much,
She thinks it's the Howard Stern show when I say that. WYZ. DriveWise. Listen, let's talk good about DriveWise because they're
a great company.
Absolutely, because let's be honest. We get a lot of emails about people switching over to DriveWise from the competition because it's cheaper and easier. You don't need a transponder. If you want to bypass the scales today, I see owner operators online saying, I'm gonna get the scale pass. Well, guess what? You can go on your phone right now, DriveWyze.com, download it and start bypassing the scales today. If you got like a small fleet, get DriveWise and let your drivers not have to worry about, pulling in the scales all the time. DriveWyze.com. Ruthann, last but not least, Camion's break-even calculator. And fuel just went up again. I thought fuel was going down. I looked at gas. Gas is almost down at $3 a gallon, right? Freaking diesel fuel is still $5 to $6. Somebody told me in Pennsylvania they paid $6.49 for a gallon of fuel.
Wow.
So get Camion, Kamion, Camion's break-even calculator, especially if you're a lease purchase driver or a fleet owner, whatever you are. Download this. Have your drivers download it. I'm going to give you the spelling. KAM as in Michael, ION as in Nancy. Camion.io/talk CDL. And that's a free download for the break-even calculator. Moving on, Ruthann.
Moving on.
Okay, real quick, I want to talk to you about this senator or whatever the heck he is. Listen, I don't care if you vote red. I don't care if you vote blue. On Talk CDL, we've got half of our audience is one side, the other half is the other side, or maybe it's lopsided, maybe it's 75-20. I don't know. But guess what? I'm not going to knock your party. I'm not here to do that. Here's what I am here to tell you, though. My grandfather told me a long time ago, we come from a trucker family, Ruthann. You know that. My grandfather, 52-year trucker, owner-operator, owned his company, had drivers, everything. You know what he taught me when I was a kid? He said, Troy, there's never been a president or a party for the trucker ever. Ever. Some of them talk it, but you know what? You look at the regulations and the BS crap that the trucker goes through today, and you tell me there's a political party that's for the trucker, and I'm going to say bull crap. There's none. Never ever has the trucker had it worse. And I'm in my 50s, okay, and I can look back at every president. And I could tell you there's never been like a time where truckers had it made under a presidency. I don't care what president it is. I don't care. And I can name a couple presidents that I really loved. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to get political. But here's this Arizona senator vows to fix the trucking industry by cutting red tape in new campaign ad. I don't buy that. That's just somebody looking to get the vote of the trucker, to me. A former NASA astronaut and current United States Senator for the state of Arizona has released a new campaign ad focusing on how he would fix labor issues within the trucking industry. Democrat Senator Mark Kelly is up for re-election in November, and part of his pitch, to his constituents involves fixing multiple issues within the trucking industry in order to reduce costs for consumers. In a video that appears to have been filmed at a truck stop, Kelly argues that government red tape has contributed to a shortage of 80,000 truckers. You know what he said? He said, we're 80,000 truckers short. You know what? We're way more than 80,000 truckers short. Okay. That 80,000 is like 20 years ago numbers. I mean, it's climbed since then. It says, which is in turn increased costs for consumer. He says cutting regulations will bring the supply chain back on track and help our truckers and their families. You know, honestly and truly, the driver shortage, he says, narrative that Kelly mentions has been pushed by groups like the American Trucking Association for decades. Other groups like the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, OIDA, have long argued that the real problem is higher turnover and retention. Compensation has been falling for years, and the conditions have not improved. Trucking needs to figure out how to keep drivers instead of burning them out. And I agree with that. You know, truck drivers need to be paid more and not beaten into the ground and used like in the movie The Matrix. You're like a battery until you wear out. Okay, you know, you start talking about this government red tape, and I do agree that if you got rid of government red tape, like all the regulations that we're under, I'm talking about the hours of service, the ELD mandates. You're talking about every little thing that they implement to basically slow the trucker down, okay, but never pay him. Yes, if you can get rid of that red tape, you would. But I don't believe there's going to be any politician that gets rid of red tape. Red tape never goes away in trucking. It just gets worse. Where are they saying that we're going to get, seriously, where have you ever seen where all of a sudden everybody's going, all right, man, this is the only time I ever seen, like, say, hours get better was like during the pandemic when you were an essential worker and they said, okay, you can run, just run. Your hours aren't going to be against you. Okay, well, that's under an emergency. But other than that, when did they ever reverse something and make the hours of service better?
They haven't.
They never have.
They always think of a reason why they can't, like why they need to make it worse, like why they have to have it shorter, or why they come up with a reason for breaking it down to where the drivers can't log it certain ways. They have to have it a different way now. You know, like
I mean, everything they've done. It's never been like this positive motion forward for the truck driver himself. Instead, it's always more regulations, more regulations, more regulations. That's all it ever is. Absolutely. I mean, they're even looking at like a national speed limit for truckers right now. But they're looking at doing that. They've been studying it now, and it's most likely going to happen. Everybody actually keeps forgetting about this, but that stuff is literally coming down the pipe right now.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, it could be implemented within the next year where all of a sudden owner-operators and everybody go to 65. So tell me, where are these senators? You know what it is? It's just more promises that people are doing. And you know when you get these promises right before election time, oh, all of us truckers are just going to pitch in and go vote for this guy. I say BS. I really do. I'm sick and tired of broken promises from both sides of the aisle. I really am. I'm an advocate for one thing. For every promise you break to get in office, you can do 5 years in prison. That would make them stop making promises they can't keep. What do you think, Ruthann?
I agree. You need to, anybody, period. You got to stop making promises that you know you can't keep, because you're not building anything.
So anyways, that's my rant for the day. I literally just seen that. I'm like, that's a crop. When you're a politician, you start making promises, you already know the bull crap's going to hit the fan. You know the worst part, Ruthann, and I'm going to end this part of it right here. The worst part of it is good people go, oh, this man's gonna do good for us. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden people start buying into it. You know what I mean? These guys, they smile, kiss your baby, stick their freaking hand in your pocket, steal your wallet, and promise you the world, and then you vote for them, and then all of a sudden everybody's going, what happened to all them promises, Mr. Senator, Mr. President, Mr. this, Mr. that? I'll be honest with you, man. I hate lies. That's why I don't get political on this show. And again, I'm not picking a side there. I'm saying politicians are politicians, nothing more than a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And most of them were lawyers at one time. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to move on.
I am in the overdrive. They had posted that the FMCSA is planning to do the regulations proposal.
So we're moving on to another topic, Ruth, then?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry. I'm actually keeping with you what you're saying about the speed limiters. So
go ahead. Say what you're saying.
It says the FMCSA administration will pursue a number of rulemaking proposals in 2023, including speed limiters, according to the Department of Transportation. So they're planning on putting in a supplemental notice type of thing. June 30th of 2023 is when they're planning on doing that.
Okay.
So I just thought you were saying about how they're planning on doing.
No.
Well, June of 2023 is when they're actually planning on trying to push that to start going through more.
Yeah. No, and I didn't mean to sound like I was snapping at you. I thought you were changing the subject, but yeah, no, you're right. And that's exactly. So June of 23, this is what the target date is for the speed limiters?
It's when they're trying to get it to push through for.
Yeah. We got a little humming.
I hear the humming.
Yeah. It's kind of annoying. Actually, we don't normally have that.
It wasn't there, and then all of a sudden it showed up. So there's something.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Okay. So there you have it. Exactly. So that's my whole point right there. You've got these senators trying to wink, I'm going to make it better for the trucker. When really, if you look at the laws they're all trying to pass down the line, okay? Speed limiters. How well do you think that's going to go when you tell an owner-operator that has a triple-digit 389 Peterbilt or a W900 that his truck has to be castrated down to 65? There was like 3 different speeds that they proposed on that speed limiter. One was 60. I think another was 65, and I think another one was 68 or 70. So you're going to tell an owner-operator that he's got to castrate his truck? That's a bunch of crap. Mm-hmm. It really is. I mean, what's the point in being an owner-operator when they castrate you and take away all your freedom?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't. The fact that it said that they were going to try and do certain regulations according to many things, and then it said that even if you're, they're looking at accidents and stuff, and even if an accident happened but no one was seriously injured or anything like that, they're still not going to let that sway whether or not they should get a speed limiter put on. So they're not even looking at statistics. It's just they want to control too much stuff, and what they're gonna hurt themselves even more than they've already hurt themselves by trying to do something like that.
I agree, 100%. Mm-hmm. You ready to move on?
I'm moving on.
Let's move on.
Okay.
So just a quick message to dump truck drivers, and I mean like end dumps drivers. Listen, I got a lot of friends that drive end dumps, and a lot of them run together, and you know they'll be loading sand or clinkers or coal or whatever, mud, whatever they're hauling. Okay, and usually when they're on a job, they're like in one site. You know what I'm saying? And like, for example, let's say here in Florida, let's say they're loading out of Brooksville, and let's say they're running it to the nuke plant up here in Crystal River. Okay. So if they're doing that, you've got maybe 30 of them doing this, and like 5 of them are running together. So they're kind of being competitive about it. So when they get to where they're going, right, they're unloading as quickly as they can so they could be the first out and the first one to get back to Brooksville to load. Now, I'm just using Brooksville and Crystal River as an example. This is all over the United States this happens. You got guys in North Carolina that might be loading in Charlotte and going somewhere, and you know, I mean, you got a group of guys and they're always racing or at least trying to beat each other, because what they do is they're usually 50 to 100 mile runs. So they're little runs. So they're doing 2, 3, 4 loads a day. So their goal is okay, let me pick up a load of dirt or sand, and I'm going to run it 30 miles up the road, and I'm going to back in. I know where I'm going. I'm going to back it in, right? And I'm going to get it going, and I'm going to tear out of here and get going. Well, the problem is a lot of them don't let their buckets drop all together. You know what I'm getting at, don't you? You know, we just filmed one. We just had a guy on film that took out all these power lines up here in Homosassa last year, a year before I filmed it. And he just tore lines down. Why? Because he dumped and then just thought he'd just take off with his bucket in the air. Okay. Well, there's one on CDL Life actually has one on this week. And there was a guy behind them blowing his horn trying to get him to stop. And it was dark. Guy just hit a bridge with his box in the air and literally ripped the bucket right off the truck.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, this is a very common thing. I would love to see in the United States in a year's time how many drivers get into an accident because they failed to drop their bucket. And they actually some of them have alarms that tell them that their bucket's not down.
They should. I mean, you have car alarms that tell you when your door's not shut all the way.
You know what the bottom line with this is, guys? Let your damn bucket down. It's that, that guy's job is done. When you take out a bridge at 60 miles an hour with your truck in the air, you look like an idiot going down the road with your bucket way in the air. Just imagine that. There you are rolling along with your music playing, dum 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 dum, and your bucket's up in the air. You look like a clown.
Especially if the four-wheeler's trying to tell you, drop your bucket.
Exactly. You got an unprofessional four-wheeler trying to tell the professional driver that he's screwing up. And there you are, bam, slamming into things. I'm telling you, that's my message today. Drop your damn bucket, guys. Listen, you're going to lose your job for a 30-second or a 90-second wait, all because your buddy's pulling out ahead of you, and you want to get back to the yard or the sand pile or wherever to get your load before him. Guys, the 90 seconds that you're going to be dreading and looking back going, if I would have just waited, I'd have a job. I wouldn't be at the unemployment line. Seriously, let your bucket down. Moving on, Ruth Ann. Moving on. Now, what do you got for us, Ruth Ann, with this post-ELD thing here? Talk to us about that.
All right. So I had gotten this off of Overdrive. So a lot of people will be able to go in and fill in the blanks that I am not putting in here because I'm just going to skim over it for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So when ELD's mandate was finally put in December of 2015, their main concern was what they estimated was that they would save 26 lives and prevent 562 injuries on an annual basis.
So an extra 26 lives would be saved because of the ELD.
That's what they were doing.
That's their theory. This was 7 years ago, this ELD kicked in.
So nearly 5 years since the mandate took effect.
Well, you said 2015.
Yeah, but I know this. Let me finish.
All right.
Okay. In December of nearly 5 years since the mandate took effect for much of the trucking in 2017. So they finalized the mandate in 15, but 2 years it took for them to actually put everything in. Remember,
so it's 5 years in. Go ahead.
Right. Truck-involved crash resulting in injuries and fatalities have steadily gone up.
So instead of saving 26 lives, it's killing more.
Exactly.
And, you can ask truckers and they'll tell you that's pretty obvious what's going on with the ELD, racing the clock and all of that crap.
Well, here's what they did is they had pulled up an analysis. It was Overdrive and their sister company, RigDig. They looked into crash and fatality injury numbers in the 4 years prior to ELD's mandate, which was from 14 to 17, and the 4 years following it, which was 18 to 21. Now, remember, there was a whole year in there of COVID. So crashes and fatalities with injuries, numbers in the aggregated were generally flat from 2014 to 70, only rising like in little tiny increments. And that however, the crashes and injuries and fatalities have risen each year since, but for 2020, because that was COVID. So in the year 2020, nothing really happened. So it didn't rise. But in 18, 19, 21, and they didn't say anything about 22 yet. They keep going up. So I'm going to give you what they're saying here. So, got a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so for truck-involved crashes pre-mandate, which is from 14 to 17, were 504,214. So per 1,000 power units, it was 17.6. Per 10 million miles, 30.9. So basically 504,000 and a couple odd hundred, right? Now, guess how much it went up?
How much?
565,000 is how many they are.
Wow.
So it literally went up approximately, what, 61,000.
This is just overall crashes. Yeah.
It went up 61,000 crashes from the 2014 to 17 to 18 to 21.
I read, it's interesting that you bring this up. I read an article earlier that said overall crashes have come down, not in trucking, with cars, right? Just the motoring public, cars, pickups, vans, all those guys, their crash rate has come down, but the semi-truck industry has gone up.
No,
I'm just saying what I read. I
understand.
I'm just saying the overall cars ain't under ELD mandates. So the big trucks, their crash rate has gone up, but the little guy has gone down a little bit. That's the decrease on that I just read earlier today.
They said the reason why with 2020 with COVID, there's less cars on the road, right? Because the general work population,
right,
were not going to work, or they were able to create home offices, so there was less people on the road, but just the truckers. So there was no four-wheelers.
But I'm not talking about 2020. I'm just talking about in the last, say, 10 years.
Was throwing that in there as a little why they really say with 2020 there wasn't really many accidents, because the four-wheelers themselves weren't even around.
2020 is not on my mind. I'm just saying as far as overall accidents go, in the last, I don't know, it's 5 or 10 year report compared to the previous, the general public has gone down, but the semi-truck world has gone up, and they've had more accidents instead of less accidents, and it's attributed to the ELD, like you said, ELD, post ELD, accidents have gone up. That's because why? They're chasing hours. You punch in and you're now racing to get where you're going, and then on top of it, truckers, especially if they're on the East Coast, they're racing the clock to find a place to park on top of all that. So they're getting, I don't want to say sloppy, but when you're racing and you're trying to get things done in a hurry, plus you're tired, you don't have the privilege of pulling over and sleeping for 3-4 hours and running your logbook the way you should be able to run it. You don't have that option to run it like we used to.
Well, basically, it had gone up, like I said, 61,000 for the crashes themselves. It went up from 262,000 to 277,000 for more injuries. And the fatalities have gone up about 2,000. So from 16,851 to 18,534. So every single thing has gone up drastically, if you want to be honest, since the mandate went through, the 4 years after the mandate went through, when they're expecting to save lives and less injuries, they actually have had more. And not just more, like they expected to save like 562,000, I think, or 562 injuries, 26 lives. They have over 2,000 more lives they've lost because of the mandate. So
right,
that's pretty much what all I was getting at, is that they're really,
the ELD mandate has caused more problems than it has helped. Bottom line,
they should just take away.
Yeah, so
get rid of the mandate again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this goes back to what I was saying. When do they implement these rules that help truckers? So, like, going back to that senator, right? What's he going to do that's going to reverse the federal laws that have been already put in place that are against us truckers? Not a damn thing. Guaranteed. He's just looking for votes. Anyways, that's my podcast for the day. You got a word of the day?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Alrighty. Well, that was weird. Sorry, I like something ad put on my computer here.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Hyponym.
Hyponym?
Hyponym.
I don't know what it is.
Hypo. Hypo. NYN. Nym.
What is-
Hyponym.
and this is by Word Genius. Ruth Ann, go ahead. Hyponym. What is it?
A word of more specific meaning than a general or subordinate term applicable to it. For example, if you have cutlery, which is your silverware, you have a spoon, which is a more specific description of it. You know, instead of someone saying, hey, get the silverware out, you usually say, get some knives and forks. You're being more specific. So that's what it is a more specific word to say than the general word.
Cool. All right.
But here in a sentence.
All right, Ruth Ann, that's the podcast for the week. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Praise the Lord.